Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we're gonna start video with a tiny short story, and that is the reason why I do these uncollected difficulty live streams where I use only like 4 stars and rank 3 5-star champions. And I typically try to use champions that I do not get to use too often, either because I don't have them at a higher rarity or I have made a decision not to rank them up yet. And one of those champions that I was playing more with and I want to know more about was Spider-Man 2099. And I did come across this extremely interesting interaction that today's video is going to be about. And I'm going to explain it as it goes along. But for the first 30 seconds or so, that's about as long as this fight is going to last, we can just appreciate how neat this looks. So we're not going to be landing a single hit on the Purgatory over here. And only thing that is going to happen is that, well, she's going to die without me having landed a single hit. Now, obviously, it doesn't work like that always everywhere, which is why we're going to watch the full clip. And it's very important. I think I actually messed up somewhere here in the first fight. Yeah, so here we go. So it's very important to know that this is the recharge node that we are talking about. I think I show it here at the beginning. So while blocking, the defender generates 15% of power every second. While the attacker is blocking, they generate 10% power every second. Both champions' combat power rates reduced by 100%. This same method would also work against champions like Doctor Strange and I'd also assume Sorcerer Symbiote, Sorcerer Supreme, probably both, and you know, several champions who have this ability to gain power over time. And the key aspect that makes it work, obviously, here is the anti-venom synergy that lets us start the fight with that level 2 debuff, Wither, I believe it's called, which reverses their power gain rate by 150%. So in situation like this, when I strike their block and they are blocking, they are attempting to gain some power, but Wither is reversing it. And basically, I am guaranteed to inflict these debuffs on them every time I strike their block, thanks to their being Wither. And well, as you can see, as they try to gain power, they get returned to 0 bars of power continuously, and they keep detonating because these raptures on Spider-Man 2099 are set to detonate whenever opponent reaches 0 bars of power. So this first fight was fairly messy, and I'm going to make a few mistakes here and there across the way. I didn't try to have like a perfect run. But the reason why I do find this interesting is because I do genuinely think that this can have very valuable applications in some tricky fights, perhaps in Alliance War, where we can frequently see champions like MCOC or Doctor Strange or something like Sorcerer Supreme placed on that aspect of evolution mini-boss with improved power gain. So if you bring in Spider-Man 2099, if you bring in anti-venom synergy, then they basically started the fight without any option to really get to a bar of power. And the best part is that you don't actually have to strike them. And whenever we are in situations like this, where these damage over time abilities are potent, I think the ability to nuke down the opponent without actually making, well, not contact, but without actually striking them, and therefore letting these abilities trigger, is quite important, because a lot of champions do have a lot of nasty defensive abilities that only trigger when you actually hit the opponent. But if you hit their block, they would not necessarily trigger. And I know for a fact that this is like a very niche thing. It's kind of trolley thing. Obviously, it's not going to be day-to-day questing option. But at the same time, I think it's also one of those very neat interactions, much like, for instance, how Apocalypse was able to deal with that Venom Pool boss, like virtually being the only champion whose debuffs do not get shrugged off. Therefore, he could freely debuff, and in combination with Mr. Fantastic, you could actually reverse the regen and, you know, deal with the threat of Venom Pool and be one of the very, very few answers against Venom Pool. So, that being kept aside, this is exactly the same type of like niche knowledge about interactions and abilities that could potentially at some point prove to be incredibly valuable when it comes to countering some tricky circumstance fights in the best, safest way possible. because again, they pretty much never get power. So now here I'm going for a level 2, which was a mistake because I shot it in a block. Luckily, Wither still applies, even though I hit it in the block. This was a fairly messy fight. Nothing I can say about that. It really is, but it's a solid finish though. It's a solid finish though. And now we can move on to the next one, Winter Soldier. This fight, I think, is going to go fairly straightforward. So again, to kind of like recap everything that is happening in this fight, we are starting with Wither active thanks to Anti-Venom's synergy, which reverses opponent's power gain. Recharge basically disables combat power rate for both champions, and both champions gain power by holding block. Now, thanks to Wither, whenever opponent is trying to gain power, they are being kind of like forced to this 0 power range, and that counts as crossing a power bar threshold, and it keeps on detonating these ruptures pretty much on every hit. And thanks to Spider-Man 2099 being awakened, we have a chance to reapply these ruptures. And that is exactly what is happening here. That is exactly what is happening here, and that is exactly how these guys are dying. And again, I want to make it perfectly clear that everybody understands what I'm trying to say here. I'm not saying that this is in fact going to be like, you know, the best answer for your day-to-day questing situations, or that even this will 100% be super important set of interactions. However, I do personally believe that there will be some circumstance, some hard fight along the way, be that Alliance War, maybe be that Map 8, maybe be that some variant or next chapter in Act 7 or something, where this could potentially be the best way how to deal with some very annoying fights. And at the very least, even if I'm absolutely wrong, it is really fun. It is a really, really fun thing to do. I would absolutely love to see something this, like, against an Alliance War boss or something. It would be such an amazing way how to take down an opponent. So, the only kind of tricky part here is, in general, just trying to sneak in that dex, because, well, you do want that Wither to last till the opponents die. That means you want to pause it. That means you do need to dex. And against some, well, at the moment, I'm actually having more trouble than ever before dexing at times. But here, since it's void, I took a different approach in the end. But yeah, that is about it. That is about where this video recording ends. Let me know what you guys think about this interaction with Awakened Spider-Man 2099, Anti-Venom, and then going up against opponents that gain power passively over time. But yeah, you can definitely go and try it out for yourself. So this recharge node is from Uncollected. I'm sure it's the same in Cav EQ as well. But definitely you can try it out in Uncollected 2.2 quest. That's the one with Mr. Fantastic as the boss. And that is it for now. And I'm going to catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the